welcome to The Worst Movie Ever Made, an experimental movie podcast designed with one thing in mind, to find the worst movie ever made. I'm your host, Chris Ockman. I'm joined by my co-hosts and fellow mad scientists, Rob Scucci and Bob Hasek. Hey guys, how are you? And why are we doing this?
Not great, because I got a new debit card today. Like, mine got damaged and I ordered a new one. So if my power goes out and like all my access to my streaming services goes out, I'm going to have to go through them one by one and update my payment information. So not doing great, but I'll bounce back.
If that happens, it could be Arnold ripping out your power supply from outside your house and then tearing down your siding and coming through the wall, literally. Could be.
Yes, in a Speedo before he suits up so he can see how buff he is.
Yeah. Arnold has some definite go-tos with his movie moves. Yeah.
Oh, he does, and he hits stuff. Every one of them here. Even though this is early in his career, I mean, this is 85, so he has a couple of movies under his belt, couple notches.
Yeah.
At this point, but he's not a huge star. So I was surprised. I thought it was a little later 80s, but
yeah.
Anyway, let's do some bad reviews. Get right into this. Okay. So, this week we have just two shorties. One from the New York Times, no author listed. 40 on Metacritic. Two-thirds of this 90-minute film is mayhem, unrelieved by humor and untouched by humanity.
Wow. Okay.
I am going to reference that again later, I think, because I have something similar, but I want to wait. And then Time Out, which I'm guessing is a magazine, got another 40 on Metacritic. Those were the two worst that I saw. Lots of machine gun fire, explosions, and disposable khaki-clad extras, as you'd expect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too true. Short and sweet, but accurate. Rob, you got YouTube comments for us?
Yeah, I got 4. One I'm going to do in character. The first one, this is the most important film in cinema's history.
Okay.
Number 2, everything is perfect in this trailer. Voiceover man and the 48 hours music are pure class. Wish I was 10 again watching rather than 39. It's always a good watch, but God, it was so badass when you were 10. The muscle, the sweat, the guns, the killing, and then end on the beach with Power Station playing the end song. Next one,
Rob, was that badass with a T on the end, or
badass like with a D, like a D?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I've watched this movie over 1,000 times when I was a kid. 3 years every evening, somewhen in the late 90s through early 2000s. ... And then this one I'm going to read in the character I think who wrote it.
Okay.
It's a shame Arnold never made Commando a franchise like Rambo. This movie had the potential to be a huge franchise on par with Rambo. A military veteran likes to play a jungle, a one-man killing machine, expert fighter, expert on weapons, sent in to save someone and stop a villain. It's literally a carbon copy of Rambo, so I can understand if maybe he didn't want to do it because of that. But still, SMH Arnold missed a golden opportunity. I mean, the name itself, John Matrix. It's a sick franchise character name. Grr. Wish there was Commander 2, 3, and 4, like Rambo 1 through 4.
And that's who I thought wrote it. A mix between like some geek in 4th grade and William Murderface from Metalocalypse.
I agree. I think that guy wrote it.
Let's do
test number 1, the worst of its kind.
Okay.
Is this film the best of the worst or the worst of its kind?
All right, got a couple Arnies to start. The Running Man, which I fucking love. I love that movie. It is like a fast-paced shoot-'em-up, like super violent movie like this, but the setup is just so cool. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It's like Pokemon, but it's humans, and they're not like jumping out of little balls. They're just like in the arena killing each other. It's badass. Predator. Another Arnold movie. That one is a contender for one of our good movie episodes, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That is a fucking classic. It's an awesome movie for many reasons. Kevin, our friend of the pod, former guest, and I have had very deep conversations about Predator. So, Kev, shout out. What's up, Kevin May? RoboCop. Oh, that's 66 and 80 in respect. RoboCop with Peter Weller.
Okay.
You guys know what that got?
That's an almost perfect one, isn't it? Isn't like that's the original, right?
It's pretty close.
Like a 95.
It got a 90, but that's hard to do.
Wow, that is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and I don't think so. Like I like it, but I don't think it's a 90 personally.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
First Blood with Stallone, also way up there, got an 87. I feel like we've done that one before. But we needed some heavy hitters here in our suggestions because Commando did pretty well. We have Starship Troopers with Denise Richards, probably the biggest name there. 66. So with those 266s, the average, a 77.8.
Okay.
You guys want to guess what Commando came in with?
I want to say it did better than that, like a 85.
There's no way. It had to be in the 60s.
It is, well, it's almost somewhere between. It's a 69. So Bob's right.
Okay.
It is in the 60s, but it's almost 70. I couldn't believe that. It is not a fucking 69. I'm sorry.
No,
Bob,
I like it. I'm going off the fact that like people disproportionately enjoy this shit.
Yeah.
So that's why I thought I'd have a higher score.
Yeah, guys just don't admit that they like to watch other guys with large muscles run around with guns.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's hot. It's just
they just secretly put their ballot in for like what their score is on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Anonymity. All the guys rate 100 and the girls
they turn away from the screen just like biting one knuckle. Like they know they're into it, but they can't show it.
So it is negative. It's negative 8.8%, but it's not the worst of its kind. It is a few points better than The Running Man, which is bullshit.
Okay.
And Starship Troopers, which is fine. That's okay, fine.
Yeah.
Moving on to test number 2, the plot pitch.
Hey, God, hey, man. Hey, what? You want to hear my movie idea? No. I just want to mention this is kind of like the bad movie season finale before we hop into a couple good movies to close season out. We will be changing up the plot pitch a little bit, but we'll talk about that in season 6. So,
oh yeah, gonna be
3,
real.
2, 1, go.
Muscles, love, and guns on offer in the new Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. You know the big guy from Conan and the Terminator? Him. He's a commando who has to get his daughter back from an evil Freddie Mercury. Well, that sounds easy, right? It is. Nobody can stop the bulky bruiser as he battles battalions of Bolivian banditos. Schwarzenegger shimmies, shakes, shoves, shoots and scores as he saves the fucking day. And his daughter from the baddies. Don't forget, Arnold always gets the girl, too. $10 million.
What else? What else has he been in again? At this point,
Conan 1 and 2. There was a second one that didn't do as well. Oh, and Terminator that got 100 on Rotten Tomatoes that doesn't exist yet.
oh, okay. Is he shirtless a lot?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's Pectacular.
Okay, you got me on that tagline. I'll make it, but I'll give you 3 stars.
I'm going to echo the 3 stars, and just because it is a good era for this kind of movie to do well, I think for 10 million, it's totally worth it.
Yeah, there's only 5 million each. Okay,
you'll make your money back for sure.
Very interesting. Very interesting. As we move on to test number 3, the worst dialogue.
The worst movie ever made presents the worst dialogue ever made.
By the way, if you guys had to guess who I was inspired by with that impression with the plot pitch, who would you guess?
William Murderface.
Okay. Any other guesses?
I have no guesses.
Shit. Okay, so it must not be that good. I was going for Zap Brannigan.
Oh yeah. That's Butch Hartman, right? I think he's he sounds like Phil Hartman, but he's not Phil Hartman.
He does sound.
I think he's related. Yeah.
Oh man.
I think
I've just been
it's
doing
the same guy. Yeah, the same guy that does the Fairly Odd Parent. I think it's the same guy, Butch Hartman. But I could be mistaken.
I wouldn't know.
Trivia. Someone looked it up for us.
But I have a couple of Futurama fellow fans at my job, so I've been doing that impression at work a little bit. Working on my Zap Brannigan game. Apparently, it needs some more.
After a couple sips of champagne, you'll nail it.
Champagne.
I haven't watched Futurama in over probably 15 years, and I barely knew the characters' names. So
Oh my God.
it's my own fault that I didn't get that.
He is Zap Brannigan's so funny. Kip, I've got the captain's itch. I'll get the lotion, sir. No, the itch for adventure.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
All right. Anyway, I'm moving on. I'm trying to impress the listener. I need to stop now. Number 10. We go in descending order. From 10 to 1. Or is it? Yeah, we climbed to the worst, but it is number 1. So yeah, that works. Senator guy that gets murdered in the beginning says, "I was afraid you missed me," and Bill Duke, who we'll talk about a little bit, says, "We won't." And then they open fire on him, which was like a very Arnold but villain version tagline right there at the beginning. And you're just off to the races.
Yeah.
The movie still had me at that point, by the way. I was still like, I'm not going to hate this yet.
Yeah, but it was like 2.5 minutes in.
Yeah.
If that. All right, number 9 is Matrix, who I'll try to refer to him as John or Matrix going forward. Okay. That's Schwarzenegger. He's talking to his daughter over a breakfast of tuna ? Sandwiches. Yeah. And he had just committed an offensive comment that we will talk about in our 6th test. But he says to his daughter, "Now, when I was a boy and rock and roll came to East Germany, the community said that it was subversive. Maybe they were right." The reason that this is all the way up at number 9 is because it's not so bad. We'll move on to our first clip of the day.
Sure.
At number 7, this is 100 grand.
Sully will make sure you get on the plane. Enriquez will stay with you. Make sure you get off. I don't hear from either one of them. She's dead.
How much they paying you, Bennett?
They offered me 100 grand. Do you want to know something? When I found out I'd get my hands on you, I said I'd do it for nothing.
Hey, hold it. I'll be back, Bennett.
John? I'll be ready, John.
What's better, revenge or revenge plus $100,000 was my question when I heard that line.
Right. It is mentioned that Matrix kicked Bennett out of his team or something because he was. I think we were supposed to get that he was a little psychotic and enjoyed. Somewhere in there he enjoyed killing people too much. Mm-hmm. But yeah, 100 grand is 100 grand, unless it was like a candy bar, in which case I might.
But he undercut his own margin by 100% for no reason. It's gonna, I can't wrap my head around it. Morally, you take the money always. Yeah.
Oh, totally. I definitely think that Chris is right, though. It was to paint him as a complete psycho.
Yeah.
I also want to make mention of the "I'll be back" line, which I think he says in the first Terminator.
Yeah.
So is this the birth of his movie to movie fourth wall breaking tendency that he had of reusing lines so that you knew it was a Schwarzenegger film?
Probably.
This could have been the first moment.
We'll have to get an expert on the panel and find out.
We'll find out. Hey, email us. We got emails coming in like crazy at this point. So
many emails.
We hired Craig, our fourth on Discord. To take a look at those. Number 6. I'm gonna get back into my Matrix accent here. What was his name? Cook, Bill Duke's character.
Yeah.
So he's a real badass, and he mentions he's a Green Beret as they're fighting.
Yeah.
And Matrix goes, "I eat Green Berets for breakfast, and right now, I'm very hungry." Yeah. I don't know, the for breakfast thing. It's definitely 10 p.m. I don't know if you can eat a Green Beret if it's an exclusive breakfast food at 10 p.m. But it depends on. Maybe if you work the night shifts, you can
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. Unless you guys have anything to add.
No, I don't.
Well, did any of Radon Chong's dialogue from that same scene make it to your list?
No, not from that scene. But I'm not going to say that she isn't featured in this dialogue segment.
Well,
what do you have?
That's fine. So that scene, all the things she keeps saying, like, you guys too much testosterone, you're macho.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, she ad-libbed all of that in a separate studio, like after the scene was shot, just to have some dialogue. And this says she ad-libbed all that. As bad as it was, yeah, it all came from her brain.
Well, I guess we can just open up the while we're on dialogue, we'll open up a dialogue about Ray Dawn Chong. I wondered why she didn't have a better career. I mean, she was pretty
Commando.
She's not the she's not the best, but
no, she was pretty busy in the 80s and 90s.
Was she? I mean, I know the name. I just haven't seen a whole lot of movies with her in it, but I've seen a lot of fucking movies. I'm just surprised.
I'm pretty sure she's Tommy Chong's daughter from Cheech and Chong.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
she is.
Okay.
She is.
Yeah.
That is confirmed fact. So if it comes up in test number, it's not a test. If it comes up later, we'll know for sure. Anyway, moving on. Number 5. This is Chong right here. She says, "Oh no," and Matrix says, "What's wrong?" "This is a canoe with wings." "We'll get in and start paddling." What is that like?
It's that razor sharp Austrian wit.
So what is the directive? Like, is that like try anyway? Because like, why are you going to confuse her when you're getting shot at? Just like tell her what to do. Yeah. If you're directing traffic here, just tell her like get in, start it, let's go. You know, a plane's a plane, something like that. Not start paddling.
It's never a good time to be catty when you're being shot at.
Exactly. This must be the first movie he had a chance to do all his lines, because Terminator, he was a robot, so he couldn't be witty. And then in Conan the Barbarian, he was supposed to be, ancient. So this must have been his either his first opportunity or the first opportunity someone had to write that for him. Either way, it's pretty funny. It's a sign of things to come.
Yeah, for sure. And to go back to the "I'll be back" line, he's in the Terminator. He's in the police station, right? And they won't grant him access to the back to get Sarah Connor. So he says, "I'll be back," and then he drives through the front door, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. But still, that's not really punny or anything. It's like a kind of a witty little thing. Anyway, number 4, Matrix again, and you guys had to know I was going here, but it's only number 4. "You're so funny, Sully. That's why I like you. That's why I'll kill you last."
Yeah.
Which ends in Sully being dangled upside down over a cliff. And Sully says, "I thought you said you were going to kill me last." And Arnold says back, Matrix says back, "I lied." And then drops him.
and then Sully goes, if you listen really, he goes,
does he?
He goes like when he's being dropped.
Well, I guess in a moment of sheer panic and recognition of one's death, you never know what kind of sounds are going to come out.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to move on to another clip. This one's simply called "No."
Wait for me! Don't you go anywhere! Who the hell are you, huh? Oh! You steal my car, you rip the seat out, you kidnap me, you ask me to help you find your daughter, which I very kindly do, and then you get me involved in a shootout where people are dying and there's blood spurting all over the place, and then I watch you rip a phone booth out of the wall, swing from the ceiling like Tarzan, and then there's a cop that's gonna shoot you, and I save you, and he starts chasing me! Are you gonna tell me what's going on or what?
No.
No!
All she does is say things that happened.
It's exposition. It's like recap, I guess. It's not exposition. It's a quick recap for the viewer.
Yeah.
Well, didn't that bother you though that he said, "No, I'm not going to tell you," even though he already had told her?
He gave her like the high level really though. Funny. He didn't like give her like the nitty gritty. He just gave her like the the top end of that, you know?
He did say they kidnapped my daughter and blah blah blah. So obviously she knew the meat of it. So it drove me a little crazy that he said that, and we were expected to swallow it. That's all.
Yeah. No, I'll give you that. That's very accurate, actually.
Let me start from the beginning. I was born in East Germany, and
that's good.
Number 2, Matrix to Jackson. That's one of the army guys that they had, like right out front of the building in the beginning. Remember to get downwind. The air current might tip them off. Jackson says, "Downwind? You think I can smell them coming?" And Matrix says back, "I did." There is a fucking moment too, because I knew this moment stuck out in my mind. So rewatching, I was like, I'm definitely going to nail them for the smell thing. Yeah. There's a moment where he's chopping wood, and it's before his daughter like attacks him from behind, right? And a cutesy little montage of their father-daughter love. And he's chopping wood, and then he all of a sudden does that like prairie dog, like, you know, like turns his head, like something's going on. And I think that's the moment we were supposed to recognize that he smelled them. I don't know. Yeah. I think he caught them because it was coming downwind or something. I have no idea. But why do we have to have a guy that is superhuman even in the nostrils? It's too much.
Yeah, like a dog. Yeah.
I'm glad it bothered you guys as much as it bothered me, because it was hysterical that he was. They cornered him inside a cabin, and they're like, "Watch out for the smell of them." And I'm like, I think they know where he is. I think they know the direction they're going to be coming. There's no question.
Also, if you smelled them, why did you keep chopping wood and hanging out with your daughter?
Yeah, exactly. That's also a good point.
Why are you running upwind?
Yeah.
All right. Clip number 1. Why don't we get a shitty drum roll? Steam.
John, I feel good. Just like old times. What's it feel like to be a dying man? You're a dead man, John. Bullshit. John, I'm not going to shoot you between the eyes. Shoot you between the balls.
Let off some steam, Bennett.
Come on.
the high-pitched shrieking just gets me every time.
Well, I had to include the part, like, I try to keep the clips around a minute because I know it's kind of torture once we hit like a minute and 20 on these clips. But I was able to get the part where, like, not only are they fist fighting and making those grunting sounds that we had from Kickboxer, but he gets electrocuted there. That's what that shrieking is. He falls back into a high voltage fence, and he's like,
and then he comes immediately. Yeah, exactly. He comes immediately back from that electrocution to battle
like mode. It was a top rope in a wrestling ring. But obviously the juice is the pun. He throws a pipe through Bennett's chest, and it releases exhaust from a pipe behind him, and there was the steam line. Just so funny. That whole scene is really funny, and we're going to get right back to it in a minute or two, because we're going to move on to test number 4, the worst acting.
Test number 4. The worst acting. Naturally, we'd use the Catwoman theme for this one. Yeah.
Okay, well, I might have lied. It's not a minute or two because I may or may not have saved that clip of which I was speaking for last of these four that we have for you, starting with Payday.
Don't move, motherfucker. Bennett, I thought you were
Dead? You thought wrong. Ever since you had me thrown out of your unit, I've waited to pay you back. Do you know what today is, Matrix? Payday.
All his clips are candy bars. I just realized.
Holy shit.
Mr. Goodbar is going to check out. Yeah.
I even titled them the first clip of the day was $100,000 and the first clip of worst acting was Payday.
Yeah.
How about that? Look for that theme. Maybe it'll pop up again. Yeah. Really the reason I clipped that wasn't so much because of Matrix or Bennett, although I thought Vernon Wells was really bad here and Arnold doesn't do very well either. But there's one guy in a khaki clad henchman, as the critic said, who points a gun at Matrix's face, and this is his moment to shine. He actually gets a fucking line in a $10 million production, and it says, "Don't move, motherfucker." Such a strange delivery that it was like, I keep going back to this, but in the beginning of Demolition Man, when the guy's like, "What are we doing here? Anyhow." It's like when the person's not in the movie they're supposed to be in, it just kills me. But yeah, what do you guys want to move on to the next one?
Sure.
It's called Wacko.
Oh yeah, this will work just fine.
Biggs, are you there?
Listen.
There's a guy over here that may be a wacko. I don't think I can handle him alone.
I'll be right there. Want to see me kick some ass.
You better wait here, miss.
Attention all units. Emergency on the theater level. Suspect, 6'2", brown hair. Is one gigantic motherfucker.
This used to be a great place for hunting slash. It's got a little crowded now. I think I found something though. Let's see it.
It reminds me of the brother in Kickboxer where he's like, "Who cares? I'm gonna kick their ass anyway." It's so nonchalantly,
I'm gonna kick their ass anyhow.
I worked in a mall in the early 90s, and they nailed the mall security guards perfectly.
Like no idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love
they hung out at the ear piercing place and just waiting to impress the women so badly.
I knew one actually. I wonder if he's a listener. Shout out guy that we know from high school that used to be a mall cop and is now like the leader of like some Christian mission group in the South somewhere or something. I don't know. Anyway, the security guard who's like, "We might have a wacko on our hands," was funny. Wacko. But the other guy who's like, he's like, 10-4, I got you over the walkie-talkie. And then immediately, without skipping a beat, he's like, "You want to see me kick some ass?" These two girls. And then he's reporting how big Matrix is to the other fucking 40 mall cops that show up. And he's like, "He's one gigantic motherfucker." And like chews it like it was a mouthful of kale. It took him forever to say that word. It was unbelievable. Had to include it, even though neither of them was a big part of the production. But
also, I've been to the mall on Christmas Eve at like 5 p.m. I've never seen that many security guards at a mall in my life.
Never, ever, ever. Never.
Yeah.
No.
Such a joke. All right, let's move on to a clip called "Fuck You."
Tranquilizers. I wanted to use the real thing.
Jenny.
Do you remember me? me, Colonel.
I remember you. Come back. Especially the people you've tortured and killed.
Colonel Matrix, you do not understand a country like Valverde. It is a country that needs a president who has an understanding of discipline.
Why tell me?
Because you're going to return to Valverde and you are going to kill the president that you helped to overthrow me.
Why don't you have Bennett do it? Sounds like something he will get off on.
Because President Velasquez trusts you, Colonel. After all, he made you the hero of the revolution. While Captain Benny left, shall we say, under a cloud.
Yeah, because he enjoyed killing a little too much.
Your training, Matrix. You can get close to President Velasquez. You will kill him. You know, Colonel, we went to a lot of trouble to find you. We had to pretend Captain Benny's death so that General Kirby would become agitated and lead us to you. And now that I have you, you will do exactly as I tell you.
Fuck you.
Maybe. Go ahead.
My main issue with that is that they hired a guy called his actor name, like his real name is Dan Hedaya.
Uh-huh.
He's from Brooklyn, New York.
Yep. And
he is the leader of the, I don't know, Colombian drug cartel.
Yeah.
And it's obvious, it's not blackface, but it's obvious, like, brown sugar face or something. They like load him up. They like dust him like a fucking fried dough and send him out there. Anyway, I'm hoping Bob is old Buffer and Bob is doing okay. Hey, there he is.
Oh my God,
Bob! I'm thinking. You know what? In God's honest here. I left the Discord because I wanted to look up Dan Hedaya's name. We just played the clip where Dan Hedaya is playing the Colombian drug leader. And he's from Brooklyn, New York. And what did I say, Rob? What did I say kind of face he's wearing?
Brown sugar face.
I said they dusted him like a fried dough and sent him out there with like a shitty accent and made him perform. Why not just hire like a Latino actor to deliver the dialogue the way that it ought to be, instead of doing the 80s Hollywood thing where they hire a white guy and make him do an accent.
Yeah. That's the issue that only recently is starting to get resolved, because that was actually a major thing with casting people that just like they cast what's her name? I forget now. Charlize Theron.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They cast her in that movie Monster, but they made her up to be like a super ugly,
Midwest
chick.
Yeah.
And she's not. And they said, why couldn't they just hire a butch chick for the role who's probably just a good actress? You know?
Yeah.
And that I remember that being a landmark reference when that kind of shit was getting fixed. So yeah, good point.
And I feel like there was a black activism ban on the Oscars. For a couple of years there, where a lot of black actors and actresses were not going because they felt like a lot of roles that could be filled by individuals who made the part make sense were not being filled simply because they were black.
No, they just get like Tom Hanks or something.
Yeah,
exactly.
I have AIDS.
Yes.
All right, let's go to the last clip of the worst acting. And Bob, I will not leave the Discord channel to look up anything else because I think I might have kicked you out. Because I'm thinking that because I earlier went to my pictures and then you were gone. So I don't know how, but I think I'm disrupting things. So I apologize.
I can't imagine, but go ahead.
All right, this one is great.
Oh, this is oddly sexual. Here we go.
Time's sake.
Bennett, stop screwing around and let the girl go. It's me that you want. I have only one arm. You can beat me. Come on, Bennett. Throw away that chicken shit gun.
I don't just want to pull a trigger. Put a knife in me and look me in the eye and see what's going on in there when you turn it. That's what you want to do, right?
I'm kidding you, John.
Come on, let the girl go. It's between you and me. Don't deprive yourself of some pleasure. Come on, Bennett. Let's party.
I can beat you. I don't need the girl. I don't need the girl! I don't need the gun, John. I can beat you. I don't need no gun! I'm gonna kill you now!
What the fuck?
Rob, why'd you put that thought in my head
What's that?
about it being somewhat sexual?
That's what he called the clip. So
No,
don't shoot the messenger.
Look me in the eye while you're twisting it around.
you don't need a girl. Let's party.
That sounds like the worst fucking handy you could ever get in your life. Like over the jeans. Disgusting.
Good old fashioned, Sharon. Wow. All right, that's
good.
Vernon Wells, awful. With the part where he goes, "I'll kill you now," like dives at him. Oh my god, fucking unbelievable! That I think
so good.
I had well, actually, I better not step on any toes. I'm just gonna move it on. Let's do your ad segment, Rob. Whatever the fuck's going on over there.
Yeah, this is a promo actually for season 6.
Oh.
Today's episode of the podcast is brought to you by Season 6 of the worst movie ever made. Join our 3 spirited co-hosts when they talk about movies that are bad. Wow, what an original concept! But seriously, it's pretty good. So strap on in and get a healthy dose of Schwarzenegger, Van Damme, and others as Chris, Bob, and Rob wade through rivers of literal shit in search of the worst movie ever made.
Yeah, they really wanted us to push season 6. So
yeah, the music was fucking awesome, dude.
Oh, that's Protest the Hero, the Fortress album. It's fucking insane.
Cool.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, I never know with you, Rob. You're such a musician. You could have thrown that together today, for all I know.
Nah, I can't shred. I'll pat myself on the back when necessary, but I can't shred.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's throw it to test number 5, the worst production, Bob.
The worst movie ever made presents worst production.
I wrote that one though.
I know. I remember asking Rob. I said, "I need a bumper. What are you working on?" He said, "Wait till you hear this shit." And he
I got the song called "Oh Yeah."
Oh
yeah! I was sold immediately. This is going to be a short one because Chris, you already referred to this a little bit when we first started talking tonight.
I'm sorry.
So no. This is actually it fit perfectly. Plausibility is the extreme low. Like there is zero plausibility in almost everything that Arnold pulls off, and almost everything he pulled off had to be done to move the movie forward. Okay, and they aren't even loopholes; they're impossibilities. Like jumping from an airplane, that was the beginning of it.
Yeah,
he was hit by a moving car. The car was moving at full speed. He was hit, suffered not at all. Just start right back up, walk right into the thing. He pulled a thick, heavy chain on a fence to break it. Like there's no way. Pulling sheet metal off a wall. I think you mentioned the pulling the siding off a wall. He pulled sheet metal straight off a wall. Yeah, exactly. I mean, pulling the seat out of a car that was unnecessary. That was that moved the story not at all. Not getting shot. Basically, everything that was extremely unlikely or impossible was just too much to swallow. I feel like that was the main production flaw, and I wouldn't call that writing. I wouldn't call that directing. I don't know what to call that. I feel like that's just general production allowing that kind of shit to go on. Lazy?
Yeah, I don't know. It makes you wonder how much like pull Schwarzenegger had, because I feel like we talked about this last week with Kickboxer, And we talk about this when major movie stars like Van Damme, major. Schwarzenegger certainly a major movie star, though. Like he had just broken out with Terminator. And I feel like they, like the crew is a bunch of yes men. They're like, when Schwarzenegger, then I'll pull the siding off of the building. They're like, yeah, sounds good.
And the funny part that really pissed me off, Bob, you mentioned when he pulls the passenger seat out of the car. That's him. He's doing two things. He's going, I am so strong, A, and B, I'm so big that this seat is in my way. I can't sit comfortably in this car. And then he immediately goes into the driver's seat, which would be more obstructed because now there's pedals involved and a clutch maybe if it's an automatic, a manual. So why didn't he have to pull that seat out?
Okay. So, Rob, here's my thought on that.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep it limited, though, because I didn't tell you guys, but we're gonna delve very deeply into the feats of strength on display here in the movie. In our catch-all, which I saved kind of towards last because I didn't want to. I foresaw conversations of this type. When he pulls the car seat out, yes, he wants to show that he is extremely strong.
Yeah.
Another element of that is it's actually hilarious. I can't even get this out. When he sits in the car with no seat in it, he's all the way to the floor. So his ass being like 1.5 feet lower means that he is not noticeable in the car. However, you can totally see, like if you are Sully and you look at your rear view, you can just see like Matrix's forehead and crew cut in the windshield of the car behind you because he wasn't low enough to be like under the dash.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but also who else is chasing you? It's gotta be him. Like, but you're right, Chris. So here's a great anecdote. I think you might like this. We took a field trip with middle school to New York City back in like 2002. And we visited Conan O'Brien's recording studio when he had the Late Show back then.
Cool.
And they revealed that when Schwarzenegger was a guest, Conan didn't like be shorter than any of his guests, so they took the cushions out of the couch.
Wow.
So that when Arnold sat down, he was lower than Conan because he's such a giant dude. And I'm thinking that's exactly what this is all coming from, because that's exactly why he took the seat out, so he was lower, even though, like you said, Chris, it didn't make a difference.
No,
and that's crazy because Conan's like 6'4", not counting the hair. He's like 6'4".
Yeah, right.
So I think they're pretty even in height. So he wanted to be taller.
Yeah.
So he put him in a lower seat.
Yeah.
That's
so
funny.
He's got to be a couple inches higher to be noticeable.
Yeah.
In difference. Which why does it matter? I mean, it's like, what's the are you going to have a masculinity contest with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. I jotted that result down, and we will move now to test number 6, the most offensive.
Damn it! I am tired of being Santa Claus! You get your together, and you get your ass in the damn car. We're going. Now! Damn it! Okay.
So at this point, I felt like we're not going to play a mini game because I'm going to be saying the same shit from Cat in the Hat. I thought about doing this against Kickboxer, but it doesn't make a lot of sense because Cat in the Hat is still the worst movie of the season. So let's just get into it, and then we'll decide later the results. So the car salesman that is giving Bill Duke his car calls him brother, but with a soft A in a very not his culture kind of way.
I noticed that immediately. Yeah, continue.
Yeah.
I wanted to include this in the worst dialogue just before Matrix says, now, when I was a boy and rock and roll came to East Germany, blah, blah, blah. It led with a joke about Boy George, where Arnold said, why don't they call him Girl George? I feel like that would end the confusion.
Yeah.
Which is just, come on. I think he thought of that line because it's really dumb and it's a little offensive. So we talked about this, but having a guy from Brooklyn play the Colombian drug lord is a bad call.
Yeah.
It's a bad call.
Yeah. Agreed.
we've talked about this before, especially in Raw Deal, episode 9, season 1. Bob, you were not a part of this show yet, and I'm not sure that you heard this one because I'm not sure that you saw the movie. Did you?
I did. I watched that movie just for that pod because I was so excited.
The commitment. This is how he made the squad. The commitment.
That's right.
Well, what's with Arnold destroying small businesses?
The needless destruction of mom and pop shops every fucking movie, whether he's good or bad. He's always destroying like a fruit stand or something.
Not only does he drive like through he grabs like some giant construction equipment and drives through the front of a mini mall in Raw Deal to destroy the like mafia's second boss's establishment to prove himself or whatever. But in so destroying the plumbing on either side and the wiring on either side, destroying the small businesses in the mini mall. But he also, if you remember, is in a fashionista JCPenney like 2.0 kind of store, and he just destroys it, like dismantles it. And in this movie, he destroys the gun store, which is owned by some nice guy, probably, who's just trying to get by. And he again grabs a front loader and just, thank you, Luke, my son, who knows the name of all construction equipment, a front loader. And like drives through the fucking front door of a gun store. Yeah. What did this guy do to you? Also, just want to mention, because I don't think it comes up again, I love the part where he's looking for the little button that opens the armory. And he's like, what is it? Come on. And then he finds the button in like 12 seconds.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, moving on.
I think Arnold is in cahoots with the insurance companies. That's what I think.
That's got to be it. Again, the kickback.
Play. Yeah. Maybe so. He's like the guy from what was the Ice Road.
The insurance espionage mercenary guy. Yeah.
Right.
Arnold has just been arrested for destroying that gun store. And there are policemen in like a SWAT car that are transporting Arnold alone now. Yeah. And one of the cops sees Radon Chong in the car next to him, and he turns to his buddy cop and like gives him the old elbow, and he's like, "Hey, a hooker." Who is still in her stewardess getup, by the way. Maybe that was her. Maybe that was her like choice of her, the nightlife thing. She was going to the stewardess tonight.
Maybe he's got like a flight attendant kink, and he's like, put this on and shake.
Yeah, but he goes, all right, two things. He goes, not bad, right? And then Radon like stops the car. But when do hookers when has there been a hooker drive-through where like, I mean, I guess all hookers are drive-through, but when do they drive to you? When do they drive to you? When does a hooker in her nice car with a missing passenger seat pull up next to a SWAT car to try to bang a couple of cops in a SWAT car? Hey,
they don't call them streetwalkers for nothing, right?
Yeah, they're not right. Exactly. Totally ridiculous. And then, by the way, she fires a fucking rocket launcher at them.
Yeah, that pissed me off because wouldn't her weight versus the back, like the back flash from that, sent her flying in the wrong direction?
Most likely,
like the kickback.
Well, also, wouldn't she have killed Arnold? Most likely.
Yes.
That's the thing. Is I attached it to that cop saying, "Hey, it's a hooker thing." I said, on that, firing a rocket at innocent police officers and potentially killing Matrix's character as well, who's on a mission to save his daughter. Pretty shitty idea.
Yeah, all around.
And moving on, Rob, you mentioned this already, but shirtless rowing, just for the fans of gigantic muscles, I guess. He just...
Yep.
We're going to talk about that a little more. Bennett getting in any offense. Okay, I mean, if you saw our Instagram story yesterday, I think it was, this guy getting in any licks on Arnold Schwarzenegger, who, even if they're equal fighters, what are you going to do to him?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what I have. You guys want to mention anything else you found particularly offensive?
I'm good.
No, I'm not.
Okay. In that case, we're going to move to the catch-all, and we're going to do something really fun that I foreshadowed. Then we're going to open it up to just a general dialogue where we go through everything that doesn't fit into our first 6 tests. So let's head into the catch-all.
Gotta catch 'em all.
So I did a very lazy, half-assed version of some researching on strength and human feats to compare them to Arnold's abilities in this movie. Were they superhuman, say?
Yeah.
Bob, you had mentioned this in Worst Production. The plausibility of his physical prowess is absolutely astonishing in a very unbelievable way. So we're gonna go one by one through the things that he did, minus the pulling off of the metal siding on the building, because I thought maybe it wasn't. They get lazy in these
contractors. It's hot out. Yeah.
Maybe there's a few nails missing or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
Why Arnold would know that climbing that pipe he'd find a metal sheeting with a couple bolts missing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What we got? Arnold lifts a tree in the opening scene.
Mm-hmm.
A tree. He has a tree on his arm. He chopped off a couple of limbs, but it's like a 20-something foot tree.
Yeah, it's a whole trunk.
Yeah, it was like a fucking gigantic. Anyway, I looked up the average weight of a tree.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, not surprisingly, honestly, it spans a wide range from anywhere between 50, 60, 70,000 pounds, which is not the case here, to a 50-foot pine being a light wood, a couple thousand pounds.
Okay.
So he trimmed this thing off, cut it up. He's got a sizable chunk of that pine tree in the range of 700 pounds.
Okay.
Let's say, on his arm. 700 pounds of wood on his arm.
Yeah.
That is Deadpool, Batman, and Black Panther. They can lift about 800 pounds. These are superheroes, right? Superhuman.
Yeah.
And it's not with one shoulder.
Yeah.
They can lift an 800-pound ball off the ground. Not throw a fucking tree over their shoulder and walk around with it.
Yeah, and they're probably using all their strength for that too, with their superpowers. He's just nonchalantly holding it over his shoulder.
Exactly. I want to shout out Chef Taylor, who was like, you should compare him to superheroes when I was talking about this episode upcoming. So I do that again a couple times. So we're going to say if he chopped off enough tree and he's Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Universe, maybe the size of the log, if it was a super light wood, he could possibly, I don't know, angle it so that he can lift it and leverage it around over his shoulder. Mm-hmm. Probably not, right? So we're going to go maybe with that one. Probably not.
Maybe.
Probably not.
Here's the next one. The weight of a Bronco. 4,200 pounds.
Okay.
An engine I looked up just so I can subtract let it be known that they did not remove the engine from the Bronco. They cut some wires. They cut his brakes. They cut his gas line, whatever. He couldn't use the Bronco. They didn't spend a couple of hours pulling, using a pulley to take the engine out and all that shit while the fighting was happening inside his log cabin. The engine's definitely still in there, but let's give it to them. They removed the 500-pound engine. You have a 3,700-pound Bronco that he is pushing uphill by himself.
I might. I've had a battery die on me on a busy road, and if you can get your car in neutral, I'm talking flat land like a sedan, though. So I mean, I'm the control for. He is a massive person, and if there's no resistance, he might be able to. But
yeah, I didn't recognize it being uphill. If it's uphill, that's very.
I didn't realize the uphill part either.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it was definitely over bumps. That's for sure, and that's enough right there. A small bump is just about the same as uphill. So
he's literally going uphill with it, which means that the wheels are actually working against you because they're giving that extra angle, like that dip, to where the truck literally wants to go backwards instead of just being stuck to the ground. The wheels are actually not helping you if you're going uphill. So he's pushing 3,700 pounds.
Yeah.
Which the biggest push press, which is like the lift that I could find closest to what he's doing, a man was able to push press 514 pounds over his head.
Okay.
And that's not even official record.
Yeah.
Typical car seat bolts are 7/16. That's the size. Okay.
Yeah.
There's probably 4 of them at least holding that seat in.
Yeah.
It takes 3,500 pounds of pressure to snap one of them.
Yeah.
So out of these 3, he maybe did one. Definitely didn't do the other 2. Right.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Just I want to add to that. I was touring with a band in 2009. We bought a van. We each owned 1/5 of a van that we got for like $800, like a Chevy work van. There was no bench, so we had to get all of our equipment and 5 of us in this thing. We went to a junkyard and just found a bench. The bench was so heavy, we didn't even bolt it, and we were fine. We drove from Milford, Connecticut to Fayetteville, North Carolina without issue, and worked our way all the way back up to like Allentown, Pennsylvania. That thing didn't even slide. So imagine if that had bolts on it. That's what I thought. Like, there's no way he's ripping that shit out.
Not happening.
Yeah, good point.
Couple more. I looked up the average weight of a London phone booth.
Okay.
which if it's like wood and glass, 850 pounds. The one that he takes and puts over his shoulders and flips the man who is inside of the phone booth over in, was made of metal. So 850 pounds plus whatever it would cost for the construction, like in weight. I can't imagine 1,000 pounds plus a man inside.
Yeah. No way.
Captain America's here you go. Captain America's lifting max. This is a superhero. Is 1,200 pounds. He can lift 1,200 pounds if he uses all of his strength. We're talking about 1,200 pounds with Sully inside, and Schwarzenegger puts it on his back and flips him upside down.
Yep,
like a fireman's carry.
So since you mentioned it, I'll mention something I found when I was researching. They made the phone booth out of balsa wood because he wanted to lift a real one. And they said, no, we're going to make one out of balsa wood.
For insurance reasons, probably, because he's going to prolapse his asshole trying to pick that up.
Exactly.
For sure.
It was very much so faked. But he wanted to have it real, but no, he didn't do it.
That's really funny. Depending on the person's strength, pain tolerance, and the construction / condition of a chain, a person could break one.
Yeah.
So we'll give him that. Bobby mentioned that before.
I'm not giving it to him. That's bullshit.
The way he breaks it, I mean, it's a sizable chain. He's not ripping that thing.
Yeah.
Okay, lateral and anterior. I went for it. Lateral and anterior deltoids are very small muscles. These are the muscles like in your shoulder, where if you've ever tried to do an exercise where you're lifting, dumbbells straight up in front of you, like people do it with like a jug
around the rotator cuff. Yeah,
that shit. It's hard to do with a gallon of milk. Like I don't know how to sound humble. Like I am a large man. And I was doing lifting routines a lot, and I was doing, 30 pounders with that. And that was a fucking challenge after months of lifting. And I'm 6'2", like 250 and change. Arnold's obviously way, way bigger than me, way strong. I mean, he's like my height, but he's way, way bigger built than me. There's no chance he is lifting Sully.
Yeah.
A human being upside down by their ankle with those muscles. I'm sorry, he must weigh 130 pounds to be generous. Yeah. Right? There's no one can lift 130 pounds like that. There's no.
Yeah.
So this goes against the last thing I said. The director actually asked him to do that by himself for real, and he said, "Are you effing kidding me?"
No
That's
shit.
funny.
Yeah, so he totally didn't do it, but they wanted him to. They said, "You can do that. That's just a guy, right?" So yeah, I thought that was kind of funny you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I felt like it was totally impossible because like I said, I have a little bit. I'm not a bodybuilder or anything. Obviously, I don't look like one. I don't even have very big muscles. I just know that lifting 35 pounds like that is very difficult.
Yeah.
Never mind 4 times that amount. Fuck that, because there's smaller muscles tucked away in your shoulder somewhere that you use to do that. Okay. Did you guys want to mention any more feats of strength, or should I just jump right into the rest of our kittle?
No, I don't have anything on strength.
Okay, I'm going to go lightning round here. Stop me if you have any notes on these.
Sure.
Actually, it starts with one where I'm going to ask your opinion.
Okay.
Dump truck assassins. I sound like Alex Jones. Assassins. Dump truck assassins. Is that the best way to, kill somebody?
No.
I mean, the senator or whatever he is, mentions that, it's not even the normal pickup day. If he's at all suspicious, he's probably not going to, he'll just hold on to the garbage.
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, you're half asleep. You're running with the garbage in your bathrobe. It's
already a pain in the ass. I mean, I've let it go. When I forgot the garbage one week, I'm just like, fuck it. We'll just cram it in.
Yeah,
do it next week.
Exactly. That's assuming a lot that he really cares that much to make sure the garbage is out. That's a huge assumption.
He is a politician. He's probably hiding some shit in that garbage pail. So maybe he just wants to get rid of the evidence before his wife finds out.
Yeah.
Oh, fair. That's really good. That's very good. Good, very fair.
Yeah, good point. They have a plate and VIN of the floor model car that Bill Duke decides to murder a guy with.
Yeah.
As he drives off the lot through the window with that car, that's super easy traceable. So
yeah,
super easy Tracy is just somebody we all knew in high school.
Everybody has one.
I thought it was hilarious that Kirby gets out of the helicopter and he's right next to it, and he starts shouting at Matrix's house, "You there, John?" Not only are all the doors closed on the house that's 500 feet away, but he's right next to a house.
The helicopter blade's just going.
Right. I wanted to mention how many guns Matrix had in his shed.
Yeah.
It was like a gun shed. It didn't have lawn equipment, which would have been good for later activities that happen.
Yeah.
On a certain island compound. But we'll get to that in a minute. 80s movies, especially action movies, for some reason, are full of what I call inappropriate saxophone.
Yeah. Tim Capello from Lost Boys really spearheaded that movement.
I hate that sound.
Yeah. Agreed.
It's like LA noir kind of detective sound from many generations before.
I always expect that vaporwave font, the neons, the neons and the Tron grid and the title cards up here. Yeah.
For some reason, saxophone makes me think of Alf and Roseanne and flannel and Vermont and maple syrup and shit like that, and Bill Clinton. I don't know.
Shiny mullets.
Yeah, shiny mullets.
Bill Clinton is funny. My parents were huge fans of the Lethal Weapon series, and they're full of saxophone solos.
Yeah.
Just when a scene is breaking down to humanity, they just throw in a sax solo.
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to be the romantic instrument of the time, but for me, every time I hear it, I'm like, oh God, give me a break with this fucking brass tone. I just can't stand it. How fast did Matrix get out of the burning Bronco when he flips coming down the hill? The Bronco is crashed, but then you get an immediate camera angle on the Bronco that literally just hit the ground. It's on fire.
Yeah.
He's not climbing out of it. He's like running up the fucking hill.
He's already out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was insane.
Exactly.
Nobody in the nobody in the seats ahead of him on the airplane had any idea that he just killed a man. It's not like he did it with like a little pill, like a cyanide pill. He slips him in his seltzer water. He like fucking full bore, like elbow to the face.
He very visibly breaks the man's neck. He's dead. He's dead tired.
Yeah. Don't bother my friend. He's dead tired. I'm airsick. The plane leap we mentioned already. These are chronological. But I love how he is like dangling from the landing gear and he jumps. And then there's like such an obvious switch. Like he is 90 feet in the air, say, when he lets go. But then the switch, like the stuntman doing, he's only like 15 feet above the mark.
Yeah.
Where he lands. And it might even have been a good dummy. I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
That is a nice car for a flight attendant. Just throwing it out there. I'm not saying you shouldn't spend your money how you want to spend your money, but she spent every dollar she made on whatever that fucking Cobra was. That thing was nice.
Yeah.
I don't blame her for being mad.
No, it's a really nice car.
Here, I've got one for you. Sergeant, Lieutenant, Corporal, Major, Colonel, Matrix couldn't hide from a fucking mall cop.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like the most experienced like jungle killer in the world, and he couldn't hide behind a pillar long enough for that guy to not notice there's a wacko in the building.
And we know they train their men to smell fear or whatever. Arnold was smelling, or Matrix was smelling at the beginning.
I guess there was no, they didn't have the windows open. There was no crossbar.
No crossbar.
He couldn't smell that.
He never thought to not look suspicious. Like, it's a mall with 1 million people. You couldn't just stand there like any other weirdo waiting for his wife to come out of the store. You had to hide behind the
right. Just want to mention another feat of strength, but I didn't even know. I didn't know how to touch on this. He like gets tackled by a bevy of mall cops and then throws his arms in the air and bounces 10 guys in every direction who are all like collapsed on him. Thought that was pretty funny. Bennett
was hysterical.
Yeah, right. And so it's a trope, kind of, right?
Yeah. Bennett
looks like a bitch. Kind of mentioned that before. Just wanted to say it just doesn't look intimidating at all. And on that subject, they have when he is fighting, and you can hear this if you want to go back to the clip before when Matrix and Bennett are fighting. You can hear the distinct sound of chainmail clinking as Bennett throws his punches. His chainmail is knitted. It's not chainmail. It's gray yarn. That was sloppily stitched together.
That's hilarious because that means there's some guy on the set in front of a microphone like this, like in post, just like shaking like some foil or something, rattling like a keychain.
I swear to God, look at Bennett's chest. Look at his chainmail. It's yarn. I promise you it
fucking
is.
Great.
You make a good point, though. Like, I know we talked about like typecasting in terms of like get someone who's appropriate for the role in terms of acting ability. But for his case, you had to look the part a little bit, and he looked nothing close to intimidating.
No, nothing.
He looked like a very lazy stepdad, basically. And
he was tall. Like he had the same height.
I think that's it. And they couldn't have outfitted him with a better costume to make at least hide the fact that he was way out of shape.
Oh my God. Insane. Totally insane. And then he goes as far as to say that that Matrix is getting old. We didn't have that dialogue in the clips, but he's like, "You're getting old, John. You're getting old." And he was probably older than Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Vernon Wells was probably older, I imagine.
Yeah.
Here's a funny one. This one's out of order. Jackson, the same guy that was like downwind. You think I can smell that they can smell me, or I can smell them, or whatever.
Yeah.
When Arnold finds him dead, it's because he opens the screen door and Jackson falls face first. How the fuck did they prop him against a screen door without it falling through?
Really tiny hook and eye, I guess, or something.
All right, here's a little question for you guys. How much force? I did too much science. I couldn't do this this week. How much force does it take to knock someone unconscious? And how do you know how long they're going to be out? Like, how do you know that hiding them in a closet is going to keep them in the closet, or throwing them into behind some barrels so they're just going to be out and not going to wake up immediately? Because
this is a big thing for me. I always get kind of irritated by. I think a solid punch to the forehead would lay somebody out pretty quickly, and it might buy you a half hour. They'll come to you, but they're not going to be lucid. You know, they're going to be like,
yeah, that's the thing. Because like in the MMA world, like normally it's like when you get hooked in the jaw and it jostles your brain.
Yeah.
Then your head needs to do like a computer reset.
Like a hard reboot.
Yeah, but you're aware again pretty quickly. Like if you're out for as long as these guys are out, like they're sustaining major brain damage.
Yeah.
If you're like unconscious for a half a fucking hour, like most football players, it's hard to tell whether they had a concussion. They have to go through this protocol where they, I don't know what they do. They have to identify an animal and then like who the current president is and blah blah blah. And if
you gotta follow the finger, you gotta do all that stuff.
If they can pass that, what would you call that? Senile admission test, then you can get back into the field. Anyway, I don't think that you can just like understand how much knockout force you have and how long you have until the person is going to be aware of themselves again to shoot at you.
Yeah.
It's just like it's an easy operating, like it's a device. It's a device, right?
Yeah.
I mentioned that already. The backroom armory, I'm not going to mention, but how many gun stores have like a back room with like fucking rocket launcher?
The cool ones.
Yeah, I guess the cool ones.
Yeah.
Uncle Jimbo's.
Yeah.
Okay, this is maybe the biggest plot hole. I didn't even start this one off, but now that I'm reading it, it's pissing me off.
Yeah.
How was Rae Dun Chong not arrested with Arnold?
Yeah.
After she helped him rob the armory. Because not only is her car like in the back lot where the cops would look for the getaway car, but it is full of guns.
The stolen goods.
And a rocket launcher that she later uses when she follows the cops after all of them dispersed, except for one SWAT car with 2 cops.
Yeah.
There were 100 cops there. She's there. Car loaded with guns. They're like, oh, she must have come with these.
Yeah.
I don't know. How did she get away?
Who knows?
Exactly.
That really ruins the movie. I love the Seinfeld like front of the seaplane windshield effects they have.
Yeah.
You know when Seinfeld and like Kramer are in the back of a cab and you can see out the back and it like
the green screen's awful.
Them. Yeah, really awful. It's same with the seaplane out the front windshield.
Yeah.
I love how she can't fly that plane, but she has no issues landing it on water.
Perfectly.
Hey, Bill Paxton.
Yeah.
Did you guys catch that? Bill Paxton was in this movie. He was like the 25th person credited. He was the person who was telling them that they were flying in illegal airspace. So Arnold was like, you have to go lower to get out of that radar.
Holy shit. I didn't even recognize you mentioned it and like it clicked, but I couldn't think of where.
Yeah. He was like he wasn't famous yet. He was also in Terminator.
Air traffic controller. Yeah.
Yeah. He was also in Terminator.
And then he had a much bigger part in True Lies. Like he had a big Schwarzenegger arc.
Yeah, he definitely did. Weird.
Huh.
Where'd he get a paddle boat and where'd he get the Speedo?
He has that, you know?
Is that like a backpack paddle boat?
think about how big that guy is, right? Like the fifth pocket that you have on your jeans to keep your spare key when you're like running or whatever. He could probably fit like a whole like top and bottom like matching bikini set.
I thought you were going to say he can keep an inflatable boat like folded up back there.
Nah, not that egregious. Just the clothing though.
With an oar or two.
He just built that on the spot.
Like Bag and Sag and Larry from All That that Keenan played.
Bag and Sag and Larry.
All the stuff out of his pants.
Yeah. Maybe he had enough like electrical tape or something that he was able to fashion a pontoon.
Yeah.
Sure.
This here's another big. I've got a few more. Here's another big loophole. I'm sorry. This movie just had so many I have to go through.
No, you're good, man.
The dead guy flight. After he kills the dude, it takes a day and a half for him to land. Like, honestly, it's like 18 hours before the people who are ready to receive him realize that he's dead. So they try to call the. Anyway. Stormtroopers, exaggerated explosions. We talked about this already. He plants a few C4 bombs. I assume that's C4. I don't know. Claymores. I don't know. And entire buildings explode.
Yeah.
He is a very large target who is hip firing with incredible accuracy. And nobody can hit him as he's running through the garden with 20 people all having their sights aimed in his direction. Somehow he's able to dodge all of those like a game of Plinko on The Price is Right. He somehow I don't know, man.
I love how they choreographed his the shots when they show him. He does a quick little like dodge. His head just moves a little bit. His shoulder goes up a little bit. Like, I'm dodging that one bullet. Like it's just they keep doing that. Like that's really doing anything. It just made me laugh a lot. I thought that was almost a funnier part than it was irritating.
That's actually hilarious because like if you're a major league baseball player, you're basically swinging the bat when you see the ball leave the pitcher's hand because that's how fast it's going. Yeah, that's 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Right? This guy, maybe it's no coincidence that his name is Matrix because he sees fucking bullets coming at him in slow motion. He's able to dodge him no problem, doing the back bend like Neo.
Good point.
Totally ridiculous. I said I was going to mention this. Lawn care homicide.
Yeah.
He's in a shed. He just knows they're going to like find him and blast it up. So he's like hanging in the rafters of this like shed. Then he drops down with a pitchfork. Throws a couple of like saw, they're like circular saw parts or something, and he chops the guy's head off, and then throws another one into another dude's chest. He takes a fucking axe and throws it into a guy's crotch, and then there was another spot where he has two daggers that he throws, and they both hit their target right in the. So they both die. Just totally fucking insane. Also, we mentioned how many fucking mall cops, right? How many men are in the Bolivian army or whatever the fuck that are stationed on this island? Why is there 400 of them?
That's a very good point, Chris. I had not I had not thought of. Thunk of. Yeah.
I thought of it, but I thought there's no way to back that up or refute it. So why not?
Yeah. Point counterpoint.
I guess the drug cartel guy has enough money to buy a country's army and plant it at an island. Yeah.
Enough desperate men.
Yeah. Speaking of that island and a couple of questions that I had, what is this reminds me of Catwoman and the gigantic pipes. Yeah. Did you see the room that had all of the plumbing with like, it was like a series of pipes and like steam coming off everywhere. It looked like a factory's like like a brewery or something in there. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here? What is this room? Yeah. It's in a mansion. Like you have normal plumbing. It's just more than most people.
Yeah.
Finally,
that old hot water heat.
Yeah.
Finally, this is my last one, guys. I'm sorry. There were so many.
It's all good.
Why are they allowed to fly away in the plane that they stole? when the American military is there, complete with genital herpes, Kirby, whatever his name is.
Who knows?
Why are they allowed to get back into somebody else's plane and fly away?
Jurisdiction or something? No, no.
Yeah. All right. All right. Well, guys, I hope you're ready for Bob Hassick's Fact or No Fact.
The Worst Movie Ever Made presents Fact or No Fact.
All right, fact or no fact, ipso facto commando. That's what I'm calling this one.
Cool. Ooh, nice.
So
very good.
So we're looking for the real fact out of the 5 possible facts.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to start with something that no one's mentioned yet.
Okay.
Arnold, he cut somebody's arm off in the movie. I don't know if you remember seeing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should have just now with the long cut homicide bit. But.
So I'm saying he cut the arm off and then said, "Let me give you a hand," and then hit the guy with his own hand. And that,
yeah.
But then they decided it was too cheesy and they decided to cut it from the movie. Okay, so that's one. Okay, second one, Alyssa Milano, which we also barely mentioned.
True.
She was still a kid when this came out. And when she went back to school, her school friends called her the Terminator because she just did a movie with Schwarzenegger. They thought it was kind of funny to make fun of her. Okay. Third one, a budding filmmaker, Arnold Schwarzenegger, was demanded to direct 2 scenes. So he directed the restaurant scene where they exchanged the money and said there's a lot of slash happening here or something like that. And he also directed the motel scene where he killed the one guy and Radon Chong made up all her lines. Anyway, he wasn't credited, but he directed those scenes. All of Arnold's one-liners were actually written by the actor, not the writers, and some of them were reused for later films. And the last one, the scene where the car salesman was assassinated by a Cadillac. The original script called for a Ford truck instead of a Cadillac, but Ford said, "No, you're not allowed to use our name in this film."
Oh God. Okay.
And that's my 5th one. So just to go over them again, "Let me give you a hand," disembodied arm. Alyssa Milano being called Terminator by her friends. Arnold directed 2 scenes. Arnold wrote all his own one-liners, and the original script called for a Ford, not a Cadillac. Go.
Okay, so if all one-liners were written by Arnold, and that is in fact a fact, then that would eliminate number 1 because they wouldn't think it's too corny. Because A, he would keep it in because he wrote it, and B, all of them are corny. So that's tough. Milano, I don't believe, because I mean, I'm guessing she's probably going to a school with like other somewhat affluent children, or you know what I mean. So I don't know if all their parents are into weird shit. So I don't think they make fun of her for starring in a movie with Arnold and calling her Terminator. Car salesman, that's doable with a truck. I'm going to say, and it's believable that he directed the 2 scenes and was uncredited because there could be a contractual thing, which would let him get his hands on experience, but not be named in the credits. But I'm going to go with that they were written by Arnold and used in later films because there's the "I'll be back," and he's calling back to this movie. So I'm going to go with 4. All one-liners were written by Arnold.
Okay. I agree that the one-liners thing kind of cancels out the first one. And you have to go with door C if you choose between A or B, and another option is given to you because mathematically that's what you're supposed to do. So I don't know if that made sense. Cutting out number 1. Alyssa Milano's Terminator thing. Kids are usually kind of funny. There's somebody in the school that would have come up with something a little better than calling it Terminator, I think. So, but Bob knows middle schoolers really well. And in the interest of not choosing yours, I'm leaning Schwartz directed 2 scenes. It is believable that the car salesman kill could have been a Ford scene until they said not to do that. But I'm thinking of Cliffhanger and the whole what are you, the carabiner,
the gear, the little locking ratchet or whatever.
Yeah, which might be somewhat fresh in Bob's mind. So I'll go with Schwartz directed 2 scenes and was uncredited.
All right. You got your 2 votes in. So let's start with the Alyssa Milano. She was actually called Conan by her friends in school.
Okay.
Okay.
So I only partially made that one up, but it is not true. She was not called Terminator. The Ford truck, I totally made that one up. I also made up that Arnold wrote all his own one-liners. Okay, he did not write all his one-liners. He also, I don't know, I think he ended up directing some stuff in his life, but he did not direct anything in this movie.
Damn it.
Okay.
Nothing at all. And what was the other one?
Arnold arm cut, give you hand, I wrote.
Oh, that's the real one. Yeah, that's the real one.
Really? That was too corny, but like letting off steam wasn't.
Yeah,
what the fuck?
They originally were supposed to say, "Let me give you a hand," but I guess I don't know. I think that might have been a censoring issue also, because they already were pushing the envelope on cutting someone's arm off in an R-rated movie.
Okay,
at least,
fair.
Yeah, I guess that would make him a little callous. That makes him a little Bennett if he was like.
Yeah, I don't think it was. I don't think it was officially a censoring issue. I think they just said that's one too many cheesy lines, and we're not going to do
Got it.
Interesting.
And so that was for real going to be one of the lines. He and they did film him hitting the guy with his own disembodied arm, but they decided to cut it.
Bob, you are too good at this. You've been really tricking us lately.
I thought that was hysterical, and I laughed when I read that line. I'm like, I wish they would have put that in the movie. That would have been great. That would have made the movie 100% better, because that was early enough in the movie, I think, wasn't it? Or no?
That's the first act, I think, right?
Yeah. Just to make the movie more silly than it is serious, I think that would have been almost like
the arm cut off.
Yeah,
that happens at the end.
I was thinking of all right.
Oh,
but he's on the island compound about to rescue his daughter, and then he escapes into that shed, and then he comes out of the shed with a pitchfork and all that shit, and he cuts the guy's arm off with like a machete he found in the shed. I guess putting the shed in machete.
Oh, that's going in the write-up. 1 second. Putting the shed in the machete.
With that, I pass.
Make sure you write Pectacular as well. I was pretty happy with that one.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a great one. Yeah.
I don't have an ego. What? All right, Rob. When you are ready, why don't you go into your alternate ending that I?
Sounds good.
Or you can do this, or you can do that, or you can do this, or you can do that, or you can do this, or you can do that. Just pick one.
Matrix gets caught in the airplane's giant tire when trying to escape, and the villain says something like, "I was getting tired of you anyways," and then he spends $14 on a nip of schnapps. That's all I got. There's one thing I wanted to mention, because we're getting close to wrapping up, right?
Yeah.
There's something I wanted to speak. So I've got a daughter. I've got a 3.5-year-old daughter. I like to think I'm a supportive parent. We go to the zoo. We go to the playground. I take her to soccer practice with Stacy. My parents were supportive parents. I remember growing up with the minivan, baseball practice, basketball practice. I was a band kid, and that montage at the beginning, the daddy-daughter time.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that's spanning over a week and not just a day. They changed wardrobes like 6 times. He's teaching her like tactical self-defense. They're like rowing a boat. They're flying a kite. They're like playing hide and seek. And I'm just imagining like having supportive parents. Like you go to school, you gear up for baseball practice, and then you guys just kind of watch like TV together after dinner, and that's it. Like, the laundry bill is just fucking insane. Like, how many times are you like washing their clothes? I'm hoping that montage took place over the course of a week or so, and it wasn't just crammed into one like 3-hour montage, because the amount of activities they engaged in is just so insane. and I had to get that off my chest. It's been
if you're going
bugging
to
me
be
all
in the
day.
kind of shape that Arnold's in, you need to be a very active person.
Yeah.
Not to mention that you need to change your clothes after you get ice cream everywhere. And I remember her splashing some ice cream into his face and him being like, but like that ha 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 that I just did, but in an East German accent because that's where he was.
He was born in East Germany.
Of course.
Right. We have to do bad credit names. Unfortunately, there aren't many good ones this time around. So I'm just going to go through them, and forgive me if we don't laugh. It's not my fault. Just like nobody had a stupid name. So
yeah.
Tony Snaggoth.
Okay.
Diamond Farnsworth.
Okay.
Speaking of Futurama.
Good news, everybody.
David Ice.
Okay.
Never seen that last name. ICE. Ice.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, unless it's Vanilla, but I don't believe that's his real last name.
No, it's not his real surname.
Richard Warlock. That one's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I like that.
Glad Pickering.
Glad Pickering? Okay.
Glad.
Like Field of Flowers, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what I had me thinking of. And finally, Vincent Dead Rick.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Dead Rick. Kind of
good finish.
That's all I got. Why don't we compare the movies and then we'll talk about some stuff. And we'll go home.
Let's do it.
Okay. Worst. The first test is worst of its kind, negative 54.8, and worst of its kind is Cat in the Hat. That's going to be fucking hard to beat.
Yeah.
Negative 8.8, and not the worst of its kind. So obviously, Cat in the Hat wins that one.
Cool.
Yeah.
Plot pitch: Cat in the Hat. Bob and Rob will say no with a 3-star. Commando, also a 3-star. Only you guys made that one. Both of you. So Cat in the Hat was worse there as well. How do you guys feel about dialogue?
You got to give amnesty to 80s action movies. They're corny by design, and I think they nailed it.
Okay.
It doesn't age well, but I mean, Cat in the Hat's way newer, and it didn't age at all. So I would say Cat in the Hat's worse.
And it's Dr. That didn't win.
Yeah.
I will follow that logic as well. Go ahead. Yeah.
How about acting? Commando? I'm thinking Commando.
Commando's worse.
Commando's worse, yeah.
Production. This is a plausibility against writing and directing issue. Plausibility for Commando, obviously. Is the plausibility so out the back door that it out trumps the writing and directing of Cat in the Hat?
I think it does, honestly.
Yeah.
I had a harder time. I had a harder time looking back at Commando with any redemption. Cat in the Hat, I was pissed off by it, but I didn't have the same level of just like give me a break feeling.
Because Commando's set in the real world. I mean, loosely, and you have to suspend a shitload of disbelief to enjoy it. Whereas Cat in the Hat, you go in going, it's a cartoon CGI cat.
Yeah, true.
You kind of you go into it with those expectations. So I think Commando takes the hit on this one.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. And as for offensive, I feel like Cat in the Hat is just way more offensive.
Yeah.
Yep.
No contest.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so score 4-2. Respectable showing by Commando. Cat in the Hat wins.
Okay.
It's gonna. That really was like the worst movie we've seen in a while. Cat in the Hat.
Yeah.
It's going to be very hard to beat.
And just because this is we will be talking in a second about how we're going to go 10 episodes this season, but
go ahead.
Episode 8, which is what this one is the season finale of Bad Movies, which means because I lost the bet, I will be watching Cat in the Hat at half speed.
Not all of it. Not all of it.
Okay, that's good to know. We will be live streaming this once. I think when we wrap up the season on like a Wednesday night, because we record on Tuesdays. On a Wednesday night, I'll go on the Instagram. I'll set up like a little camera thing, and I'll get it rolling. And I think that's how we're gonna do it.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
No one deserves it.
It's gonna be good. I'm gonna get some. I'm gonna mukbang it. I'm gonna get a shitload of Taco Bell. I've been running. I'm ready for this. I'm getting in the best shape of my life to watch Cat in the Hat. So
nice.
That's what we're gonna do.
I want to see you in a paddle boat and a Speedo.
I'll make it happen.
That's right.
Stacy's got the Target red card, so I can get that for like 5% off.
Nice. All right, hey, let's do our live looking at what's coming up next week.
Yeah.
We're doing our good movie for next week. And, a 41%, 28%, 31%. You guys want to just call it now? We'll call it now?
I'm guessing it's Pulp Fiction, right?
No, it's not.
Oh.
It's Airplane. It's not Chris.
Fuck yeah. Chris,
all right,
there might be some credence to your theory. I think we just lost Bob again when you took your camera off, which is weird because those are not related things technologically speaking.
I knew I sounded crazy. It's just true.
Yeah, just a little.
13 votes for Airplane, 9 for Pulp Fiction, and 10 for Grosse Point Blank, and we put it up like, I don't know, 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
2.5 hours.
It's not a full 24 hour scale. We forgot, but we have fun on these good movie episodes anyway. So
Chris forgot.
Yeah, and I've not forgot to. I'm normally pretty good at reminding, and
Chris is a dum-dum.
We all screwed.
Chris has been working.
Yeah,
Chris has been working, which he loves, by the way.
We all screwed the pooch on this one, Chris.
But anyway, it's Airplane for next week. That's going to be our good movie, which I'm excited about because I haven't seen it in many a moon.
I haven't seen it since I was a kid, but it's Zucker, and I love basketball, so you know.
Yeah, exactly. I'm kind of hoping that Bob will pop back in. Buffer and Bob suffers.
Buffer and oh, that's going in the write up too. Buffering Bob.
Yeah, but he's getting short shrift from kicking out Chris or whatever because I keep kicking him to the curb every time.
I got all of my exclamation points for the write up that I do, like the little. I got them all written out in front of me. You want to hear some of them?
Yeah, I do.
All right. So we got Buffering Bob, Daddy Daughter Laundry Day, Pectacular Protuberances. Putting the Shed and Machete, Brown Sugar Face, Dump Truck Assassins, Shiny Mullets, Long Care Homicide, Recurring Pipe Logic.
Oh wow, that is quite a list. I feel so bad. I need to not kick out Bob again. I need to keep this in mind. Yeah. Those are unrelated issues though. Maybe I'll roll the theme right now and then we'll talk to Bob post show. Just because I guess so. Sorry, Buffer and Bob.
All right. So the worst movie ever made. Yeah. The worst movie ever made.com. Everything is there. Find us. Talk to us.
Hey, there he is.
There's Bob. He did it again. Chris did it again.
I believe it. What's the movie, by the way?
Airplane.
Oh, Airplane.
We were stalling. We were stalling till you got back. We're glad you made it. We're about to plug it, and then we're gonna roll the theme music. So the worst movie ever made.com. See you next week, guys.